Well, hello there. How's everybody doing? Welcome to episode 20 already of The Eagle's Nest, the audio retelling of Charlie Supersinski's great book, Soaring with the Eagles, the Copper Peak Story. And we are now in 1973. There's not much to talk about. After 1970, the first Copper Peak competition went off as planned and as hoped for all those years. However, the 1971 meet was blown away by weather in the form of thunder and lightning, rain, and warm temperatures. The club was unable to have a 1972 meet. And so here we go. In 1973, ski flying returns to Copper Peak. The ski flying event at Copper Peak was scheduled for February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, 1973, and would be part of a 7-event series similar to the World Cup point system and named the Samsonite Series for the major sponsor, which would be Samsonite Luggage. The winner would be determined at the last event of the season to be held at Pine Mountain in Iron Mountain. Competitors from U.S., Canada, and Japan would compete at Copper Peak. One reason for scheduling the event earlier in February would be to avoid the severe storms of early March in which crosswinds from the southwest tend to prevail. Getting the hill ready for competition would be a major challenge for the newly formed technical team. The crew started early in December to work the hill. Their job was made a lot easier with the completion of the snow profile pipes recently installed under the direction of Gunnar Lawrenson and Gene Carlson. The pipes were donated and the services of several rock miners with drilling skills were most helpful in completing the important project. After several months of planning and hard work, the Daily Globe of February 3rd, 73, had this to say about the hill preparation efforts. Famed Art Toko, Rockaway, New Jersey, said the hill preparation was one of the best jobs he had ever seen. Crews under the direction of Bob Shea, board chairman Wally Coos, and Lino Slanzi had worked over the hill for over 2 months, and they could tell to the inch what the new conditions were at any given point. A total of 28 ski flyers participated in the event, with 17 from the U.S., 8 from Canada, and 3 from Japan. Jerry Martin of the U.S. ski team copped top honors, with Tom Dargay competing as an independent from Minneapolis was second. They were followed by Minoru Wakasa of Japan, third, Peter Wilson of Canada, fourth, and Akisuga Kono of Japan, who placed fifth. The one-eyed Martin set a record of his own on the tough ski flying hill, which put a premium on depth perception. He flew 449 feet Saturday to break the mark Kono had set Friday at 446. But Sunday the Japanese came back to crank another meter out of his tiny frame and captured the hill record of 453 feet. With only one competition at Copper Peak in 1970 and the other scheduled event in 71 canceled because of the weather, meet officials were very cautious and tentative in deciding under what conditions it was suitable to fly. All of the plaudits about the hill did not prevent the usual frustrating ski politics infighting on the Thursday event. The interminable argument over the wind conditions on the hill arose again. Long years of records show the top of the scaffold often is windy, while the jump point, slope, and landing area are all but wind-free. Visibility conditions were sketchy, but the hill was, in the minds of Ski Corporation officials, jumpable. Finally, Slamovar Cardus of Canada, who had personally gone over the length of the hill, said he was jumping, and so were the Canadians. They were joined by Tim Kingsfield, and their rides were the clincher to the argument. Finally, jumping went as scheduled. Perfect weather Saturday gave the spectators some spectacular jumping, and Sunday, though the slide iced up, went into the record book. That made it a high point for ski flying. The last time a ski flying hill managed 3 days of jumping was 1963. The successful meet in 1973 helped in part to put the ski club on a more sound financial footing. Even though the size of the crowd was not as large as hoped, the ticket sales income combined with the cost-saving methods of preparing the hill showed that the event was just a few $1,000s short of breaking even. Additionally, 3 successful summer-fall seasons of operating the chairlift and elevator, in which some 10,000 visitors each year took the ride to the top of the world's largest ski slide, helped significantly to improve the financial well-being of the corporation. Finally, through the efforts primarily of William L. Johnson, the club was able to raise an additional $18,000 through the sale of debentures. At the annual meeting of the ski club held on April 3, 1973, the general membership of the corporation voted to strengthen the board to assure continuity by staggering the membership of the board, so only 1/3 of the boards, that would be 5 members, would expire each year. At the organizational meeting which followed, John Lofberg was elected president. Plans began immediately for next season's ski flying events, scheduled for January 31st, February 1st through the 3rd, 1974. As soon as snow began to fall on the big hill, crews set out to get an early start so they would assure a good quality hill for the early February event. So then 74 was going to be an international meet. The meet would have an international flavor with 40 ski flyers competing, 10 members of the USSA ski team, 10 independent USA skiers, 8 Canadians and 2 each from France and Austria, 3 Yugoslav skiers, 4 from Japan, and 1 from Norway. On Thursday, January 31st, 26 of the 40 performers managed 1 or more practice jumps to test the hill. The rest started jumping at 11 in the morning. Regular official practice started at 1 under perfect hill conditions at the Samsonite International Ski Flying Classic. Tom Dargay, 20-year-old ski flyer from Minneapolis, flew 443 feet through the chill on Thursday to pace the unofficial practice jumping at Copper Peak. The leap from the 5th chute was just 10 feet short of the record. Stylish Jerry Martin successfully launched his defense of his Copper Peak ski flying crown, but long-distance jumper Tom Dargay continued his assault on hill records Friday, setting a new mark of 472 feet. On Saturday, wind conditions only allowed 1 round of competition, and Ron Steele of Leavenworth, Washington, defending National USA champion, jumped out to a 16-point lead over Jerry Martin and other top competitors. On Sunday, Jerry Martin and Peter Kongsley of Norway tied for first, but were not able to overcome the lead set on Saturday by Ron Steele. The top finishers in the 74 Samsonite Ski Flying Classic were: first, Ron Steele, USA; second, Jerry Martin, USA; third, Peter Kongsley of Norway; fourth, Staguru Kaneko, Japan; fifth, Karl Schnabel, Austria. Enthusiastic fans had seen 4 days of ski flying, and both Martin and Dargay set the new hill standard at 472 feet. Way to go. Skier reaction to ski flying, particularly those flying for the first time, was especially poignant. Steele, like his first-time opponent, Kongsley, felt ski flying can't be matched. Kongsley said there is nothing like going over 400 feet. The last fifth is the most difficult, the Norwegian said. I like ski flying much better than ski jumping. Anybody who has had a ride over 400 feet will tell you the same thing," Steele said as he was interviewed. "It's hard to describe. You're like a bird in flight when you're up there that long," the new champion said meaningly. At the annual meeting of the ski club on April 10, 1974, 4 new members were elected to the board for 3-year terms. 2 weeks later, at the organizational meeting, Charles Supersinski was elected president to lead the group for the next year. Crowds for the 74 event were disappointing, as only about 2,500 attended on Sunday. Efficiencies in hill preparation and economizing on other aspects of the meet, however, helped to improve the financial condition of the ski club. Mr. Coos, the newly elected treasurer, felt we should be able to end off the summer season with between $10,000 to $15,000 in the bank for the tournament. Another issue began to surface in which the landing hill began to deteriorate. Large ruts were forming largely due to heavy rains, which funneled through the rock cut opposite the judges' stand. The board hired a local contractor to move nearly 1,200 yards of dirt on the landing slope. It was then covered with some 80 bales of hay for the intention of seeding the hill and eventually adding water bars. Nearly $8,500 was invested in the project. The effort had limited success because adequate water bars had not been installed. As expected, heavy rains in the fall combined with spring snowmelt continued to carve significant washouts on the hillside. This would be the first of a number of failed efforts to control hillside erosion. 1974 also saw the redefining, or you might say restating, of the board's mission. A number of board members brought up the issue of the role that the ski club board would play in promoting the sport of ski jumping. The mission statement of the organization read, quote, "To promote and encourage skiing, ski jumping, and ski flying." The ski club had very little involvement in the sport of ski jumping since it last sponsored a meet in 1962 at Wolverine Hill, but instead had been concentrating all its efforts on Copper Peak. The only active ski jumping facility in the area was the Iron Bowl in the caves in Ironwood. While the facility provided good training for youngsters, the 30-meter hill at the site was not adequate to train for larger hill competitions. A number of members elected to the ski club board in the past several years had been active in promoting the ski jumping programs and felt the ski club board should hold true to its mission. And ski club president Supersinski garnered the services of Roger Pecuri to lay out a tentative cross-country trail on the nearly 300 acres of corporate property at Copper Peak. The president also located a site for a potential 55-meter jumping hill on the northeast face of the hill, which would only require a small scaffold of about 20 feet, the rest of the hill being all natural. Developing this additional capability at Copper Peak would expand the scope of the site. The chairlift would be available to bring ski jumpers to the top of the hill for the 55-meter hill. These planning tasks were performed during the summer-fall of '74 with the hope that the board in time would give these proposed projects due consideration. On September 21, 1974, Copper Peak was dedicated in a small ceremony as a registered Michigan Historic Site. Chippewa Hill, the volcanic copper-bearing outcrop, had a long history of copper exploration dating back into the 1840s. Victor Lemmer, local historian, compiled much of the information regarding the site, including the fact that there are 4 copper exploratory pits on the hillside, the largest being located at the base of the hill opposite the chalet. At one time, In the late 1840s, a small village existed on the site consisting of residences, several buildings, including a powder storage facility. Residents were able to do a little gardening on the site. While copper was found in limited quantities, it was insufficient for serious mining. A 104-pound piece of copper was unearthed during the construction phase of Copper Peak. This unique historical site qualified Copper Peak for membership in the Western Upper Peninsula Heritage Trail Network. And 1975 was the third consecutive year of ski flying. The 1975 North American Ski Flying Classic was scheduled for February 6th through the 9th and opened with a practice round on Thursday. The winner of the event would have the highest point total for 3 days of competition, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 20 skiers would participate with 9 members of the U.S. ski team, 5 independent jumpers from the USSA Central Division, 4 Canadians, and 2 Japanese. Jerry Martin of the U.S. ski team won top honors and also set a new hill record with an outstanding leap of 482 feet. He was pressed hard by second-place finisher Jim Mackey of Coleraine, Minnesota, riding as an independent from the U.S. Central Division, who captured the lead and the hearts of the fans after 2 days of competition. Finishing third was Japan's Shunichi Akimoto, followed by the winner of the 74 ski flying meet, Ron Steele, who placed fourth. And fifth-place winner was Greg Winsberger of the U.S. ski team. For the third year in a row, jubilant fans experienced 4 consecutive days of ski flying. After the 1975 meet, a strong effort was made to erect a 55-meter bridge ski jump at Copper Peak. Because of strong efforts by supporters of the junior program, a special meeting was called by President Supersinski to discuss the 55-meter hill. Finally, after much discussion, it was agreed that a 50-meter hill would be built, but at the Wolverine site. The Wolverine Hill Committee of the Gogebic Range Ski Corporation would assume responsibility for all activities and aspects of the site. As part of the decision to put up a new Wolverine Hill ski scaffold, the Gogebic Range Ski Club board was split. 4 members would move to the new junior program board and would pick 3 other persons to supervise the hill design, handle the construction, and further develop the junior program, as well as stage the tournaments. Moving to the new board was Dan Bull, Charles Supersinski, Walter Coos, and Bob Shea. Supersinski would be the liaison between the boards. The financial condition of the Gogebic Range Ski Club continued to improve. Revenues exceeded expenses by about $6,000 for the fiscal year, which ended on March 35th of 75. And with anticipated revenues from summer operations, the corporation was well positioned to undertake the construction of the Wolverine Hill as well as sponsor an international tournament in 1976. Records would show that summer revenues for 75 from operation of the chairlift, elevator, and gift shop would increase by 27% over the previous year and produce in excess of some $45,000 in income. An article appearing in the Daily Globe of September 18th of 75 confirms the success of Copper Peak as a tourist attraction. Quote, "The lift to the top of the ski flying tower has attracted almost 13,000 persons so far this summer, an increase of 27% over 74. Of those riding the lift, 9,270 were adults and 3,727 were children. The gift shop sales were up between 30 and 35%, according to the Ladies Auxiliary, which operates the gift shop. The attendance is likely to top 15,000 this year, as the hill will be open through the fall color season from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Copper Peak was living up to every expectation of the Founding Fathers to become a comprehensive year-round tourist attraction. The number of visitors over the course of the year would approach 35,000 or more, of which some 15,000 would come to see the ski flying competition, and about 20,000 came to simply see this unique iconic structure and facilities. Visitors came 12 months of the year, and they came to experience the chairlift and elevator ride to the top during the summer-fall tourist season. The fall color season, peaking at about late September or early October, experienced huge crowds. And you know what? On that high note, we've run out of time for this episode. So, this is your narrator, Dan McManman, inviting you to join us again for the next episode of The Eagle's Nest. The best way to see and hear us is to go to the YouTube app on your smart TV and search Copper Peak Eagle's Nest. All the episodes so far are there all the time, and the episodes are numbered sequentially. So if you went to episode 3, for example, and listened to that, it would automatically go to the next episode. Also, you can find us on the Copper Peak streaming site by using social media sites like Google or Yahoo and search Copper Peak. Episodes play on the half hour. We're also on Copper Peak Radio, which is 102.1 FM, and that is on at 6:08 a.m. and p.m. and 11:08 a.m. and p.m. Central Time if you're in the area. Charlie's book, if you're interested in picking up a copy of that, the name of the book is Soaring with the Eagles, The Copper Peak Story, and it's available at the Depot in downtown Ironwood and the Downtown Art Place in Ironwood. Once again, thanks for joining us here on the Eagle's Nest. We really appreciate it, and see you next time, and keep thinking Copper Peak.